Just like a lot of people, I pulled a Barbenheimer, and it was an experience. It seemed like a lot of people were in on it. Seemed like it would have been a fun time. So that was part of it, but also just because Barbie and Oppenheimer are made by two great directors. So of course I gotta try to experience it all at once. My friends and I drove to the IMAX theater in Nashville, Tennessee. That was the closest theater to us that had the true IMAX 70mm film for Oppenheimer. It wasn't a super long drive for us, though we did make a day out of this whole event. So if you're willing to go see this movie in 70mm, if you have the opportunity, if you have the time, if you have some friends that are interested in seeing this in 70mm, I say do it. It was awesome. But I did the whole shebang. I got the Barbenheimer shirt. I took a picture in the Barbie box, because you gotta, and I even got my nails done. Pretty sure you'll still be able to kind of see them while my hands flail around. So we started our double feature with Barbie. Some people might be like, Ethan, that was probably not a smart idea because you're gonna be depressed after watching Oppenheimer, which I was not. We saw Barbie first because Oppenheimer tickets dropped like a month before Barbie did, and so we just bought this one specific time, and then we had to work our schedule around that. So yeah, I am a fan of Greta Gerwig as a director. I love Lady Bird. That is a very fun movie, and I was really moved by Little Women. I was impressed. I wasn't thinking I would enjoy that movie, but I don't know, she just knows how to tell a good story. So it seems about right in this point in her career that she gets to do a big tentpole film, and once again she knocked it out of the park. It seems like no matter what challenges Gerwig may have come with from Mattel or Warner Brothers, making sure they approve everything, Gerwig and her writing partner Noah Baumbach, they managed to write a very funny and moving story. I found myself really loving everything I was seeing in the first half of this film. I was having a blast. It was funny. Production was amazing. While there are some great performances, which I will get to in a minute, I just have to talk about how amazing the craft is and how it stands on its own. The production of this movie is astounding. It makes you feel so immersed. Part of what helps with this is the practical sets. They just look like giant toys, and I think it's perfect. Also, the costumes are spot on. They fit everyone so perfectly. They are all vibrant. Shout out to Jacqueline Duran for understanding what works in this world, how the costumes really are special. Not only are the costumes amazing to look at, but they complement each Barbie and Ken as well. It fits directly with their personalities, with their interests, their hobbies, and whatever they are occupied with at the moment. Even the hair and makeup is just amazing to me. I mean, look at Margot Robbie in this picture. Maybe I am just starstruck by her, but that hair is just amazing. There's no way that was easy hair to do. Look at it flow, it bounces, the curls, that had to be difficult, right? I don't know. I need a hair and makeup expert to let me know if that was actually a challenge to do or if that's just simple. Speaking of Margot Robbie, let's go ahead and just talk about some perfect casting. This movie has Barbie discovering new emotions and layers to herself within, and Robbie just does some amazing work with this. I think the big star that everyone is talking about though is Ryan Gosling as Ken. Again, talk about perfect casting, and wow, Gosling stole the entire movie for me. Gosling just understands humor. He's done humor before, and this one he just takes it up a notch. Gerwig just got to have a lot of fun with him. To anyone that hasn't seen this movie yet, if you had any doubt about Gosling as Ken, I promise that will change your mind. The casting all around is fantastic. Even if one Barbie or Ken may have 2 to 3 minutes of screen time, they still have a moment to shine, whether it's because they're delivering a joke or it could even be from their outfits. I could totally get why I could see somebody say something like, oh yeah, I love Issa Rae's Barbie. Emma Mackey is my favorite. Kingsley Ben-Adir is my favorite Ken. Any of those, like, I can totally get. I think they all have like their special unique thing to the cast. Also, Michael Cera as Alan, that is perfect. The soundtrack also complements the movie very well. Also, Ryan Gosling singing I'm Just Ken and Push by Matchbox 20, that gave me dopamine. Now, one of my issues is something that I mostly ignored, but I was having a hard time understanding the rules of Barbie Land. I don't want to sound like CinemaSins. Maybe this is just me being an idiot. Please let me know in the comments if you can fix this for me. But I just don't understand how things in Barbie Land and the real world connect. It seems like it's one of those things where the more I think about it, the less it makes sense. However, just because I am not entirely grasping the rules, there are so many other good things happening in the movie to the point where the lore and the rules don't matter as much. It's not the main emphasis of the movie, so I don't think I need to worry about it too much. There's one point in the movie where Barbie gets to meet the CEO of the Mattel company, which is run by Will Ferrell. There are some good bits from Ferrell that are used for solid commentary about capitalism and patriarchy in the business and working environment. That's about it though. I found him and his entourage of businessmen just a little bit useless later on in the film. I also had a harder time accepting Barbie's arc and character development at the end of the movie. I did find it moving and beautiful and touching, but there wasn't enough for me to make it make sense. Part of that is because the final act is way more focused on the Barbies taking back Barbie Land, which is fine, and it is a very fun sequence in the film. So maybe if there was one more scene in the final act about Barbie wanting to be different, then I think that would have made more sense. Unless I truly did just miss the point of something, because that could be a possibility. Like, I know when Barbie was in LA, there was that scene where she is experiencing new emotions for the first time, and it had more of a positive outcome towards it. That's about it. That's all I could think of. You could even argue that Ken has a bigger arc, but that's the nice thing. There is development for Barbie. There's development for Ken. There are good messages about patriarchy and what's it like being a woman. I think it's all beautiful. I think this is a really fun time. It is pleasing to look at. This is a win for Greta Gerwig. The casting is perfect. Margot Robbie captures the spirit and essence of Barbie perfectly, and Ryan Gosling just steals the show whenever he's on the screen. The production and costumes are amazing to look at. I enjoy the soundtrack quite a bit. It captures the essence of Barbie very well. The rules the movie tries to set up may not entirely make sense to me, but it's something I can let it slide. And even if the ending is just a little bit fumbled, it's still a nice heartwarming moment that I think a lot of other people will get something out of. It's just a very entertaining movie with tons of craft that deserves all of the recognition. I enjoy the messages it's going for. I think they make sense. I'm glad Gerwig has succeeded at making something more than just an IP cash grab. I hate Mattel is going to make more movies based off of toys, even though the Barney Daniel Kaluuya movie sounds pretty interesting. There are now reports that Gerwig is going to do some Narnia movies next, and I remember a year ago when this was rumored, I was like, God, I just want more original stories from her. But there is potential that these Narnia movies could be something more than just fantasy lore and like religion themes. Plus, it'll be fine. They'll be in good hands. Why not have more women make more blockbusters? We don't have a lot of them. So anyway, I think right now for Barbie, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. All right, so those are my thoughts on Barbie, and we had about 20 minutes to get to the next screening, which was literally like 5 steps away. So we just went over there, we just sat in our seats, we just waited for the film to start. I am not the film bro guy where I'm like, Nolan is king, Nolan is the best filmmaker around, though I can't admit when I really like a Nolan film. But I think some of his stuff just falls a little flat at times. Sometimes his stuff is way more focused on the scope and the time gimmicks more so than actual storytelling. I can still admit when his ideas are cool. Sometimes if it succeeds, I'm like, that was pretty awesome. Visually, they are all very cool to look at as well, and I will still go see a Nolan movie on day one. This time Nolan is doing a biopic, and once again, just like a lot of his other previous films, he has a time gimmick. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of time skips, there's a lot of cross-cutting, different perspectives on different moments. However, unlike a lot of Nolan's films, this is just people talking usually. Usually there are moments in Nolan films where talking is a little tedious and and it's just to take us to the next big moment into the film. But in Oppenheimer, it is exciting. I'm kind of shocked at how immersed I was for watching a 3-hour film about people just kind of sitting in rooms and talking. But part of that has to do with the cast. There are so many people in this movie that it will have you going like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. And even if some of these actors may have less than 5 minutes of screen time, they might even have like 30 seconds total of screen time, Nolan is somehow able to get the best performances out of them. To name a few, Alden Ehrenreich was fantastic, Josh Hartnett killed it, David Krumholtz is amazing in this. This is the best I've seen out of Robert Downey Jr. since Zodiac. And I mean, I can go on. Josh Peck shows up for a little bit. He's cool. You could argue he's in the most important scene in the movie. All of them are great, but obviously the main star of the film is Cillian Murphy, who plays Robert Oppenheimer, and yeah, this is probably his best work. Nolan has worked with Murphy plenty of times, but this is the first time in Nolan's filmography where Murphy gets to play the lead, and Murphy just steals the scene every time, which is incredibly impressive to say because all of these actors, this entire ensemble, they are in their A game. I do think this movie really tries its hardest to not fall into the biopic problem where the female characters are usually not that interesting. It really tries, and you can tell it's like trying to do a little bit more with its female characters, but in the end, I think they are just a little underwhelming, a little underdeveloped, which might be a hot take, I don't know. Florence Pugh and Emily Blunt are fantastic in this. If you've seen the movie, then you definitely know that Emily Blunt has her shining moment, and it is amazing. It makes me want to like stand up and cheer. I just feel like they are both a little underwritten, unfortunately. But the one thing that I appreciate the most about Oppenheimer is that it is a story that feels big in its scope, and I think this is his most intimate film he's made in a long time. Yeah, there are very awesome effects in this film, and I don't know how he pulled it off, but it's not just about that. It is about the aftermaths. It's about the psychological horrors about this stuff. It's about the internal thoughts and struggles that Oppenheimer had. I just feel like we haven't had a movie from Nolan like that in a while. I think this is Nolan's best edited film in a while as well. The editing is a huge part of his gimmick for this film, but I think it works to see how the stories integrate with one another. Ludwig Göransson's score is great as well. I know a lot of people were complaining that the music just kind of feels non-stop in the first half of the film, but I didn't have any problems with that. His orchestral work is a bit more traditional, which may sound disappointing to fans, but it's far more melodic and more mature compared to some of his other stuff. And I think there are plenty of beautiful pieces in this score. My biggest gripe though with a lot of Nolan films is that the sound mixing is rough, and this is an improvement for this film, I will admit that, but I still thought it was just off at times. I also just read not super long ago that apparently Nolan doesn't do ADR, which makes a lot of sense. It's an artistic choice. I get why he thinks that. I think the results are a little weakening. All of the hype that you have heard about this movie is worth it. I found it surprisingly exciting. I was very tense when they were making the bomb. I was like, oh my god, it's about to happen. We're about to experience this. I found it exciting. If you think it's very dialogue heavy and that makes it a little less exciting, I can see why you think that. I just think some people maybe want a bit more out of this since it is a Nolan film. I think some people just want bigger scope, but I think the making of the bomb itself, and the aftermath are big enough already to make it feel exciting. But also it's exciting because these actors are fully committed to this. You can feel the weight of everything they are just dropping on us, whether they have 30 seconds of screen time or if they are in the entire thing. It is some of their best work. Even though there are a couple underwritten characters, it doesn't bother me that much. The cross-cutting works super well. It adds layers to both sides of storytelling, and the the music is probably Göransson's most mature work yet. I think it's Nolan's most personal film in a long time. It's just such a massive study and focuses on just one character and the aftermaths of everything. I'm just very happy Nolan got to do something like this. It's a little bit different from some of his other work, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. If for any reason you have the opportunity to go see this film in 70mm IMAX, I am saying go do that. If you're a fan of Nolan's work, if you're a fan of film, and you are willing to make a day out of this, I think you will appreciate it. Even if you have already seen this film and you know you have the opportunity to go travel to a city that is not super far from you, go do it. I promise it is worth the experience. It is not super common to see a 70mm IMAX film. Who's the next one that's gonna do it? Tarantino? That's probably gonna be it. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, very good movie. Really enjoyed this. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. Who knows, it might change later, but yeah, both great movies. Please go see both of them. If you want to do a double feature, you can, or if you want to just watch one week and watch the other the next week, doesn't matter. Just please go watch these movies. They are both great. Also, let's try and not replicate this meme for a while. I enjoyed the Barbenheimer memes. I think they were a lot of fun. The hype for it was nice. We had a year of build up for both of them. It was just a fun time. But yeah, just replicating it, it's not gonna be the same. I'm already seeing stuff for Saw Patrol. That doesn't even sound fun. Because the thing is, Barbie and Oppenheimer were made by great directors. There was a lot of good stuff coming from it. There's a lot of hype for both of them. No one is hyped for Paw Patrol. Who cares about that? Let's just chill out on the memes and let's just make sure they feel organic, I guess. Anyway, that's my PSA for the day. Thank you so much for watching this. If you have made it this far, did you pull a Barbenheimer? Which one did you watch first? Did you like either of them? Did you hate one of them? Let me know down below. I'm very curious. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, I guess, if you want to. Do whatever you want. Make sure you exercise every day, drink your milk, and have a great day.